Hey guys, it's James Dainard, and we are back on BiggerPockets YouTube channel. For those who don't know me, I've been an active investor in the Pacific Northwest for the last 18 years. I went from being a Red Robin waiter and a wholesaler with not a lot of assets, with not a lot of liquidity, to growing that to over 1,000 rental doors and flipping thousands of properties for the last 18 years in the Pacific Northwest. For those who are starting from scratch, just like I did, I'm going to take you under the hood and show you how you can steal my plan and grow out your portfolio by flipping properties, developing properties, and then reinvesting it and growing up your passive income. So how is this plan created? It actually started all when I was a junior year in college. I was working at Red Robin paying for college that way. Then I knew I had to get my career started, so I took an internship with a corporate sales company all summer. During that internship, I was sitting in a very small cubicle, putting together sales proposals, and I was just grinding it out. The one thing that I really took away, even though it was a great experience, I learned a lot, is I got the experience of corporate life, and I learned that I did not want to do it. I did not want to work a 9 to 5. I didn't want to be under a thumbprint of that corporate ladder. And so at that point in my life, I made the decision that I wanted to get into real estate. I knew real estate could pay me passively, that if I built enough rental properties up, it would pay me enough income to cover all of my bills. And at that time, I had written down that I wanted to make $10,000 a month. Now, how did I come up with this $10,000 a month? At the time, my expenses were $2,000 to $3,000 a month. So I knew to live comfortably, I wanted all of my fixed costs to be about 25% to 30% of my total passive income, and that's how I came up with my $10,000. Now, that has changed a lot over my life as I've had kids, as I've moved, as I've gotten married, and as I've grown. That passive income requirement has gotten a lot bigger, but I still stick with that same core concept of having about 25 to 30% in total expenses for what my desired passive income is. So after banging on hundreds of doors, I finally found that first good buy. But for the last 12 months, I'd just been a wholesaler. I'd been contracting properties, getting paid a finder's fee, and then moving on. Now came the real hard work, and that's executing on a flip. I knew if I wanted to build up my passive income, I had to get that huge margin, which meant I needed to be the buyer and grow quicker rather than just taking small wholesale fees. So once I contracted the property, I had to get my team put together. The first thing was I had to put money together. I met with every local hard money lender in town that would lend on loan to value and not experience. Remember, I was 23 years old. I didn't have that much liquidity. I didn't have a stable job. And so I had to find the right lender. The money was expensive, but I had access to it. In addition to, I networked with a lot of different investors that I had been wholesaling to give me some additional capital. In addition to having access to money, I had to have the right construction teams. Now, the great thing about wholesaling is you get to hook people up with a lot of good buys. By hooking up your good investor clients, a lot of times they will give back and provide you with resources. My first investor clients were actually the ones that gave me my construction resources because they wanted to see me grow as well. So always network with your partners, your different resources, and find as many different resources you can to execute on your flip. So I had found my deal, I funded it, and I bought my first flip property to grow my liquidity and to start buying rental properties and live off passive income. But then there was a small hiccup. As I grew in life, so did my expenses. I'm always trying to stay at 25 to 30% of my passive income for my expenses. As my expenses increased, my passive income goals also had to increase, which meant I needed to buy more flips. So by year 3, we were flipping lots of different properties and we were doing about 10 a year. And let's break down the math and how we exponentially grew our portfolio at that time in our passive income. So if we did 10 flips at $75,000 in profit a deal, that's roughly $750,000 in profit. After taxes, that actually leaves us about $450,000. So every time that we flip a home, we allocate percentages to certain pots that we need to be in. The first thing is, on a $750,000 worth of income, we take 40%, we put that off for the taxes. Then we take 20% and we actually use that for income that we can live off of or make our business more efficient. Either we're going to use it to pay our bills or put it back into the business to increase the efficiencies. The more efficiency we have, the more profit we make on each deal. The second 20% is to actually reinvest in more flips. If we have more liquidity, we can buy more deals, which will increase and get a higher return. Our average cash on cash return per flip is around 50%. So if we take that profit, roughly $150,000, and we reinvest it into more flips for the year, that's roughly going to give us around a 50% return, and we're making an additional $75,000 at the end of the year that we get to put back into flips. The last 20% that we use is to put into our rental properties, and this has been key for us from going from 0 doors to over 1,000. When we have $750,000 in gain, 20% of the profit is going to give us about $150,000 in liquidity to go buy more rental properties. That's going to give me about an additional $800,000 in purchasing power in the Pacific Northwest. That's typically going to get me about 4 to 8 units just from my flip income. So what this does is it preserves the money that I've already allocated for my rental properties. In addition to, I get to go buy more rental properties because I'm just using the profit from my flip to reinvest and grow my portfolio. My portfolio growth is what's going to actually pay me my passive income. And so I'm using the high yield, high tax investments to roll it into our rental properties to create that cash flow. But I have to create more liquidity at the time. So flipping homes gave me the liquidity to buy more rental properties. But there's an additional kicker in this whole thing. Flipping homes also taught me how to renovate properties and execute complex rehab plans. This allows me to then go target value-add rental properties and buy them substantially below market. I don't have to be a traditional investor that is buying at 5 to 10% off market, and maybe I have to leave 10 to 15% in each one of those deals. When you're trying to build out your portfolio, hanging on to your liquidity is key. Being able to execute on heavy value add allows you to hang on to that liquidity. So when I'm out targeting rental properties, I'm not going for traditional properties where I'm putting 10 to 20% in the deal. I'm targeting properties that I can buy substantially below market, do a heavy renovation plan because there's less competition, and then lever up to 70 to 75% and get all of my liquidity back. So in that example, when we were done flipping homes, we had over $150,000 to invest to go buy new rental properties. If I continue that flipping process, that's going to give me an additional $150,000 at the end of year 2. Also, with the skill set I picked up from flipping properties, I was able to buy substantially discounted rental properties, renovated them, lever the new loan to value up to 70 to 75%, get most of my cash back, and in year 2, I'm going to be able to use $300,000 to go buy more rental properties. And that is why flipping properties has additional kickers. It gives you that skill set to be able to buy properties substantially below market, use the leverage, and then grow your gunpowder. I'm trying to get to over $100,000 a month of passive income. That means I need a lot of liquidity there. I need to grow that as rapidly as possible. So flipping helps you do it in all ways. It gives you the liquidity, it gives you the skill set to then go buy properties with bigger equity positions. I then can use those equity positions, tap into the wealth, and then use that wealth to go buy more rental properties. In addition to, it helps me get on that passive lifestyle. I don't have to flip as many properties if I'm accumulating a lot of wealth or a lot of equity positions here. So the more skill sets you have, the better you can grow your portfolio. So we went from doing 10 deals a year with an anticipated $75,000 in profit to now, because we saved up the liquidity, we can buy bigger deals and make bigger profit on per deal. So in this example right now, we're in a farmhouse that we just listed in Redmond, Washington. We paid $1.45 million for it. We put roughly $750,000 into this project. That requires about $400,000 to $500,000 in liquidity to do this deal. By saving up our flip profits, it's given us the gunpowder to get into these big deals. If we sell this property for $3.25 million, that's going to give me a net profit of around $600,000 on this deal alone. If I do that 10 times in a year, that's $6 million. If I'm taking 20% of $6 million, that gives me over $1.5 million to go buy rental properties rather than $150,000. So yes, I'm paying the high tax, but as long as I save that sliver and put it in the pie chart and go buy accordingly with it, it helps me compound and grow quickly. By doing bigger deals, it gives me more liquidity, and now we're buying bigger rental properties. We're not buying as many single family rentals like we used to. Now we're buying 20 to 30 units at a time. So by doing deals that generate a lot of liquidity, it gives you more gunpowder and you can get into bigger deals, which give you more efficiencies and more cash flow to get you to that financial freedom. So thank you for watching BiggerPockets. Steal my plan. There is no more excuses. If you're a newer investor and you want to build out your rental portfolio, I just gave you the roadmap to do it at a rapid pace. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe below. No excuses. And for more investor tips, check us out at jamesdainard.com or on Instagram at jdainflips.